Alright guys, so this has been on my mind for quite some time now. I've been playing Zane since the character came out. I've been a loyalist. Only after perfecting this character did I even go and try to do a Mose or, a Mara or any of the other stuff. But I've spent the most time with Zane. And if you hear the sadness and frustration in my voice, it's for a reason. The reason being is that unfortunately, as good as he can be, he can definitely be better. And the fact that a lot of his skills just don't work. I mean, at all. I don't even mean just numbers don't work or things of that nature. They just don't jive with this character. In this video, I'm going to go over all the skills that I think just don't work well enough and cover some bases as to equipment and how it interacts with those skills as well. Starting off with the blue tree, gotta start off with Cold Bore. This skill, right? This skill is useless. The cryo builds that do cryo damage and freeze everything on the board, like the one I'm particularly running now, does this without the use of this skill, and you're only using really about 1 to 2 weapons, so there's no real need for the weapon swap. So why is this here? And maybe the cryo bonus damage is good, but it's not needed, and it's not adding anything really to the build that's already wrecking things. So yeah, why? Moving on down to Salvation. um yeah, the lifesteal is nice and all that, sustain and blah blah blah, but this skill is useless when compared to refreshment over in the green tree that at max 3 out of 3 gives you 24% lifesteal without actually even having to kill that enemy. All he has to do is be frozen and you start to steal life back from him before you wilter his body into a block of ice. So what is this skill really doing? Next is my favorite skill to love to hate. Playing dirty. Okay, so this could be so good. There were guns in past Borderlands that played like this skill. And yes, that percent chance can be hiked up dramatically through cast mods. Like, I even have a god roll for this that gives it 4 more points. That makes it 9 out of 5. That is insane, but it's just not consistent enough to make an entire build around trying to play it. Yes, you can do it. You can do it with a lot of like one pump chump, things that just have high single bullet damage and like really small clip capacity, or that return bullets in the clip like Lucian's Call and stuff. Like that could go off, but it's only the first 5 bullets. It's only a percent chance. It's just not consistent enough. There can be some buffs to this, and I'll explain those at the end for improvements and stuff. But yeah, it's just not good enough. Next is Good Misfortune. So this skill, right? If if you pair Calm, Cool, and Collected correctly with other skills, you could pretty much keep both of your action skills up an entire fight. But let's say you didn't do that and you tried to spec into Good Misfortune. However long that it would be, it wouldn't be as long as what the other build does with Calm, Cool, and Collected. And on top of that, when this finally does wither down, and go on cooldown for your action skills, they're actually on cooldown. Whereas in with calm, cool, and collected, all you have to do is meet the requirements and they're right back up. So what is this skill actually used for? Last but not least, 1 out of 3 useless capstones for Zane. Yeah, I think it's actually kind of useless. If you can keep your action skills up and your kill skills up all the time with the ice cryo build, uh, this never really has a home outside of facing certain bosses that you already want to have the buffs up on, and that's it. It's good for boss builds. I see a lot of boss builds with this skill, and that's exactly what it's used for. Go ahead and pop your skills, get all that bonus damage and handling and accuracy and critical damage, and pour into the weak spot, and then just melt the boss. But outside of that, when you have Slaughter Shaft and Proving Grounds and all that stuff, and that seems to be the way to go, and most of the game is mobbing, you're killing anyway, so you don't need to just activate the skill. You can just kill something weak and then go about your business. So, skill very underwhelming, especially for being a capstone. Hell, as an honorable mention, Death Follows Close is a way better capstone with the 25% bonus to the kill skills. This applies in so many other ways that I'll explain later that it might as well have been the capstone itself. And honorable mention to the drone. The drone does what the drone is supposed to do: zap shields and weaken enemies and make me stronger. I don't really expect it to kill anything, and I'm freezing things at such a crazy rate that Winter's drone just really doesn't cut it either. But overall, the drone is an MVP because I can tell it what to concentrate on and what to attack. I would love if they removed the 2-second cooldown on this. You don't necessarily have to buff the shield damage. Any little bit counts. I'm going to be trying to eat away at it myself, but that would be nice. Remove the cooldown, buff the damage. You don't have to actually buff the bullet damage from the drone. Just do that, and I'll feel better about myself and the drone. Next up is my favorite tree, and I have to admit that it did not start off my favorite tree, but it's the more well-designed tree, the green tree. Um, I just didn't see that coming. I hated the barrier at first. I still do, and I'll explain that way later. Um, but it's the better option in terms of skills, survivability, all that yip yap. It's just good. With this build, particularly since I run cryo with Rough Rider and some particular items, none of these 3 items uh, work from my skill. I literally put it in an adrenaline so I can get down to this. But yeah, adrenaline, not a bad skill overall. I just wish it worked kind of with Rough Rider, like a couple other things in this tree. If Rough Rider kind of read as a full shield or that it was active, then getting this flat like 35% cooldown rate would be insane. You don't really need it with this build because your cooldown, because of cool, calm, and collected, is just insane already. But just in case, the off chance you get hit with some splash damage or puddle damage and you don't have your quote-unquote shield up if you have a normal shield, this would make sure that you always get that extra 35% uptime to always keep your skills up. That would be a big help, Gearbox. Please! Next is Hardy Stock. Kind of useless and contradicts the play with Zane since you always want your shields at full. Things like the red band, the Sidorak, where it has like 3,000 recharge rate and you always have your shield recharge up. Like, that's insane, and you get to keep some of your benefits from having full shields topped off with a bunch of other different kill skills. But yeah, it's You don't want a bigger shield. At least in my opinion. You don't want a bigger shield. And if you want a bigger shield, you could run a Deathless Relic, which just doubles your shield. So if you just need more shield like that, that's the way to go, not the extra 30%. Yeah, you can stack them both, but at that point, you're just beating a dead horse. You got a huge shield, especially like the Transformer with a Deathless Relic. Huge shield. Don't need this. Honorable mention, Ready for Action is actually pretty good. Uh, just don't need it because, once again, my build currently, as you saw in the beginning, I'm running Rough Rider. So, just not necessary. Don't have to worry about it. Next up is a skill that, once again, I wish Rough Rider could take advantage of for being counted as full. As you can see, I could not spec into it because no shield means no added gun damage, no added accuracy, which would be really nice since Lucian's Call got its accuracy and handling kind of chopped up, man. But I can still handle it. That's what class mod's for. So, yeah, but it's a good skill. I don't think anything is wrong with it aside for the fact that even if it didn't run Rough Rider and you had a regular shield, splash damage will still hurt you inside the bubble. Now, if you jump with this bubble, like, check this out. If you jump with this bubble, it covers your feet. Covers your feet. But, once you're on the ground, there's a portion that it does not. So, yeah, splash damage and melee attackers are just not your best friend. And since there was happened so much in Melee 3 True Vault Hunter, this is not always at full. So once again, circumvention with a Rough Rider would be loved. But yeah, it's an okay skill. Next up is Best Served Coal. More like Worst Served Coal. This damage, even at max, is super negligible. And once again, with the proper gear, you're doing so much cryo on your own that this does nothing. And then to make it even worse, they had the audacity to put a cooldown on that. What? And yes, this is at 0, right? It'll be at level 1 with the 156. But it doesn't get any bigger. I've tried it. It doesn't get really any bigger enough for you to notice the difference. Like, oh man, this has to be 5 out of 5 every time. No. There is no state in which this Nova damage is that good, especially for it to be limited to cool down 2 seconds? 2 seconds. No. No gearbox. No thank you. Moving on down to Nerves of Steel. What gun did they expect that we were going to use that needed an entire skill to rein in its accuracy and handling? Who would... What? Not even the Leuta shoots that wild that I'm just like, oh man, gotta have 3 out of 3 for Nerves of Steel. Just, you can't miss that. Like, it doesn't add damage or anything like that. Just accuracy and handling. It's called aim, and if it's that bad, get close, like the Crossroads. Like, just get really close, because it has big spread on the bullets. Just get close and you get all your stuff. So you don't need more accuracy and handling on that. Just play better, and Nerves of Steel isn't necessary. Especially since the Executor class mod comes with... Look. It actually improves your handling, accuracy, all that stuff. Where are you? I have like a million class mods. Look. Increases accuracy, handling, critical hit damage, status effect chance. Why would we spec Nerves of Steel? And what? So that's just not a good skill at all. Please just erase it. Just erase it. Just for me. And last but not least in this tree and I do mean the least. Distributed denial, and I do mean a general denial. This skill has the potential to be so good, and I would have actually taken it in the beginning, but I knew outright reading this that there was no way that there were going to be any really good shields that I would want to try and take advantage of with this skill. And trust me, I've tried the damage from Red Suit, I've tried Big Boom Blaster, Foxtrot, and Nova shields like the black hole just don't work because this shield doesn't break, so you never get a Nova effect off of it. This skill is about as good as the best shield in the game when you can just wear it. So like we talked about the Transformer earlier, it already absorbs the electric damage, so why would you have your shield be copied? Because you're not gonna take the damage anyway. The only other thing that I haven't used is the shield that produces a drone. And if you're gonna tell me that the damage from that drone is more than my own, then I'm also going to say that that was a bit of bad design. Don't you think? Maybe? I don't know. Also, I did a lot of testing on a lot of shields. I just did not record all that because I didn't think any of you guys wanted to see it. However, if that is something that you guys would like to see, is just the interaction between the different shields that can be applied to this and their effects, I'll be more than happy to make another video covering that. But we still got a lot of ground to cover, so just sound off in the comments and on to our next tree. The red tree. So, I also have another name for this tree. The worst companion ever created tree. Yes, the clone is the worst. Only because you cannot direct it for single target damage like you can the drone. If you had been able to do exactly what you can do with the drone and say, hey, attack this and not the random rack flying in the sky, then maybe I would start to have a little bit more respect. Now that we got that out of the way, and I'll expound on that more later, but let's move on to the skills. We got a couple more skills. Now, this, right? No. The Leuta can kill Grave in the best situations in like 2 to 3 clips. I don't think I need a bigger clip to aid in that. And you still have stuff like Lucian, Rowan, King, and Queen that return the bullets back to you for just simply aiming and playing the game like you should be by aiming at possible crit spots when you can, of course, within reason. But that's what you want to be doing, right? So why would I need a bigger magazine size if I should be getting all my bullets back by just playing better? Useless skill. Borrowed time, waste of skill. When you have Death Follows and Cool Calm Collected, what is this skill actually here for? Not very much. Honorable mentions, however, are all 3 of these skills. This is great when paired with Death Follows. I mean, really. It comes out to be about 47.5% chance to spit out a grenade when paired with Death Follows. So this is actually pretty good, especially if you pair it with red button and you're just always pressing it and getting out a chance to throw out a clone and a chance to throw out another grenade, more than what you probably could on your own. Duct tape mod is actually pretty decent, especially when paired with a class mod that pushes it to a higher chance. Then it's really good. I do think that it does not need to be 8 seconds though. maybe shave this down by 50%, maybe 4 seconds, maybe 3 seconds. I would be okay with that, especially since you have Moe's who for a very long time ran around with a unlimited grenade build. So why not us be able to perform something of a like fashion? But nope, we have this high 8-second cooldown, and Moe's is back to I think about 2 seconds or less. I don't know, but seems pretty unfair to me. Next up is Quick Breather. Got nothing bad to say about this skill. Actually, really good, especially when paired with Ready for Action and the blue tree. So every time you swap and you need to get your recharge delay up, it's going to actually be increased for Ready for Action. So I think that synergizes really well. So good job on that, Gearbox. I can't beat you up for everything. But then I'm backing your ass with old you. So first off, it says press R2 or L2, but if you have the drone out and you press L2 and there's an enemy nearby, it's probably going to have you point in the direction of the enemy instead of actually reviving you. So good luck, and if you do this X amount of times like I did without realizing it, you're gonna die a whole bunch. Also, when you revive, the threat is still there. It's still ready to put you down again. So I think if you took this skill and spliced it with Doppelbanger, like if I could pop this and come back to life and this go off at the same time, it doesn't have to kill, but just doing a nice chunk to hurt it so I could try and kill it now would be spectacular. But, you know, it's not like I'm on the pay grade or anything, so I don't get a say in that. Next is Pocket Full of Grenades. This is only good when paired with Boom Enhance. And we'll go over Boom Enhance in a second, but that's the only reason why I ever picked up the skill, was to always make sure that I had the necessary grenades to be able to pop Boom Enhance correctly and get the clone to do some type of damage to somebody out there in the world. I don't know. I mentioned it earlier and I'll say it again. Supersonic Man is damage, especially when translated with Violent Speed and Violent Momentum. This is actually more damage. So, yeah, why not try and pick up this skill? I got nothing bad to say about the skill, other than the fact you are moving hella fast and it's kind of hard to hit stuff sometimes. Aside from that, not too bad, not too bad, not too shabby. But every time I have something good to say, Gearbox proves me wrong again when they give me stuff like a ghost. I'm pretty sure that they just started running out of things to put in this tree. I'm not even going to go that hard on this skill, because I'm pretty sure you can agree as a Zane main, you've never been like, I just need this skill. This has to be on every one of my builds ever. Especially, come on, if you're running the Cryo Warrior Infinite Shield build, who cares about trying to ignore the bullet damage? You shouldn't be getting hit. So this skill is just, this skill was created out of boredom. That's all I'm going to say. Coming to one of my favorite skills in his entire tree is actually Boom Enhance. When I got the correct weapon in the clone's hand, and it was like, you can only attack this one thing, this wrecked so hard. It worked really well with the Agonizer 1500. It worked really well with the Leuta early on, and of course a couple other guns like Crossroads, Jackhammer early on, Rowan's Call. It did really well. But once again, when you put more than one target in front of the clone, any good skill turns into poop. So it's poop enhance. There you go. Trigger of the light. It's the only shock skill in a sea of cryo efficiency and bonus damage. Why is this here? That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. I got nothing else for that. In fact, we're just gonna move straight up to double barrel. It's an okay skill at best, since you have to switch places with it to get that extra percent damage, and that takes away from the flow of battle sometimes, especially since one, swapping places has a cooldown, and then two, you can't immediately act out of swapping. So if you could shoot and swap, shoot, swap, shoot, swap, that would be cool. That would be better than having to actually run like a ghost. Like, it would actually be really good. But because, like I said, it takes so much from the flow of battle, why use it? Two, the drone's not gonna shoot where you want it to shoot anyway. And then three, well, three is being addressed in a future patch, which is the clone's health. But we talked about that earlier as well. There are ways to mitigate that and keep the clone alive. It just won't hit what you want it to hit while it's there. So why keep it alive? That's all I'm gonna say. Why keep it alive? Some closing thoughts on the entire matter now that we've gone through the trees and looked at everything. Um, I love this character. I actually really like this character. I feel like there could be a bunch of build diversity with this character more than any of the other classes in the game, perhaps. Perhaps. However, because there are so many skills on Zane that just don't work or are very underwhelming at higher tiered versions of the game, Mayhem 3 and stuff like that, a lot of things just aren't viable, hence why I'm running, cryo guy with the cryo stuff, man, because that's one of the only ways to enjoy Zane, and just have fun and do damage at the same time. All the other builds, even the one that I made earlier, the Holy Hell Grenade build, is only really good in two situations. One, pre-Hex patch and Duvane patch, right? But two, on base game before Mayhem 3. You can get away with Mayhem 2 with some of the other builds, but yeah, Mayhem 3 and True Vault Hunter, some of those things just don't add up the way they should anymore, and it's just sad. The biggest buffs that I would love to see are Best Served Coal, remove the cooldown, and boost the Nova damage, and it might be something worthy to spec fully into. That might be a thing, but we'll never know because it sucks. Playing dirty. Make the whole clip have a chance, or at least guarantee the first 5 shots down the barrel will split. They will split. Not a chance. They will split. And even if that's going to change my playstyle, I'm going to do more than just this. That's it. I mean, if I gotta walk around with a Hellwalker, well, no, not well, like a one pump chump, stuff like that. Like, I'll rock that. I'll rock a rocket launcher. Pre-flacker that would have been pretty damn good. But you don't have to do that anymore. I'm just saying, it would be good. The capstone for Green Tree. If you make a really good shield or you rework the properties of the dome to be able to actually have, some of the Nova effects like black hole, I'd love to throw the shield and have the black hole effect of the singularity go off and suck those monsters together, because then I would actually want to use stuff like Best Served Coal to get the Nova to go off and hit all the enemies in that area. Just imagine how cool that would be. But it doesn't work like that. And then I would love for the clone to get the stuff that I asked for, because I'm not the only one. It's just so frustrating when you're fighting a boss and the clone decides to shoot at a psycho or a rag flying by or anything like that. That just doesn't need to be a thing. This character is interesting. I want to build more stuff with the character. However, with the limitations placed on the character like shackles, I can't really do much. And I don't know about you guys, but I might jump ship here in a bit. I don't want to do that, but I do have a Moe's level 50 just ready to go if things just don't fall in line. I need more than just health on the Digiclone. One final thing. One final thing. The augments are horrible. Horrible. Who's using this? We just went over that is not enough Nova damage. Now, if you want to make a Zane Nova thing be reality, I'm cool with that. But as it stands, that's horrible. This is good. This is good. This is good. This is horrible. 2 out of 5, horrible. Alright, I won't lie. Most of these are actually good. These are the only ones that are good, except for this. This is like the second shock thing that he gets, and it's underwhelming. It doesn't cut it. We talked about this already. If you're doing the cryo stuff, this isn't going to push it over the edge or make it insane. These rocket pods, please stop. And this is never going to kill anything ever. Like, I had to take a pause to think about it. Like, ever. So it's never going to extend. So, yeah. Just no to those augments. Overall, I really want to keep playing this character. I would just like to see some adjustments made. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys do as well. Or if you have different suggestions than what I've talked about today or would like to expound on that a little bit more, sound off down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget, if you do want to see the ways that I tested the barrier theory, I'm more than happy to make a video. However, you guys have to show me some clamor for it. So once again, sound off in the comments, and happy vault hunting, guys. Hopefully you're having fun with your secondary characters if you're a Zane main, or, you know, I hope you're enjoying Cryo Zane, because that's the only other way I feel like, besides, yep, can't even run the Holy Hell anymore because they nerfed the Hex and the Duvane Firestorm, and I don't know if Epicenter can cut it. So with that, guys, peace.
Maggot.